What if the person you dismissed as insignificant held the power to change your destiny? Ethan Gray and his team of executives at Global Dynamics, a prestigious tech firm in Atlanta, were about to discover this truth the hard way. Arrogance ruled their corporate halls, but karma was just around the corner. Grab a coffee, relax, and enjoy this gripping tale of justice and redemption. At Global Dynamics, business was always booming. The company had become a leader in AI-driven solutions, hosting clients from Silicon Valley to Wall Street. Its Atlanta headquarters was a fortress of innovation, a glass-paneled skyscraper housing high-tech meeting rooms, sleek lounges, and bustling workspaces. But beneath its polished exterior lay cracks in the foundation. Leadership was riddled with arrogance and toxicity. Ethan Gray, the acting CEO, was the worst offender. Tall, sharp-dressed, and always carrying a smug grin, he had a way of making even the most competent employees feel small. His arrogance was tolerated because he delivered results, but few knew the real cost of his leadership. Enter Sandra Willis, a woman in her early 40s with a quiet strength and sharp mind. Sandra wasn't new to Global Dynamics. In fact, she had co-founded the company years ago with her late husband, Marcus. Together, they had built the business from the ground up. After Marcus's sudden passing, Sandra stepped back to grieve, leaving the day-to-day operations to others. She held on to her ownership stake but stayed out of the spotlight, trusting the board to keep the company on track. But over the years, troubling reports reached her ears. Whispers of toxic management, misappropriation of funds, and a workplace culture that stifled innovation. Sandra couldn't ignore it any longer. She decided to step back in, but not as herself. Instead, she took on the role of a cleaner to observe the company from the ground up. Dressed in a plain gray uniform, Sandra pushed her cleaning cart into the gleaming halls of the building she once called her second home. The reception was far from warm. On her very first day, Ethan Gray noticed her mopping near his office. "You missed a spot," he sneered, pointing to an immaculate area of the floor. "Do your job properly, or someone else will." Sandra gave a polite nod, biting her tongue. "Yes, sir," she said softly. But inside, her blood boiled. This man was leading her company. She resolved to stay calm and gather as much information as possible. A culture of arrogance. Over the next few weeks, Sandra observed the daily workings of Global Dynamics. The employees on the lower rungs were hardworking and dedicated, often putting in long hours without complaint. But the management? It was a different story. Ethan was not only arrogant but also manipulative. He took credit for team successes while blaming failures on others. He berated employees in public meetings and dismissed their ideas with a wave of his hand. "If you were smart enough to lead, you'd be sitting in my chair," he once said to a junior project manager during a meeting. Then there was Lily Carter, the head of operations, who had a knack for humiliation. She often made loud remarks about employees' appearances, once calling an intern's outfit more suited for a mall job. Charles Benson, the CFO, was no better. He was notorious for misusing company funds, throwing lavish parties and charging them to client entertainment. Sandra wasn't spared their disdain. To them, she was invisible, a faceless worker there to clean their messes. "You're too old for this kind of work," Lily remarked one evening as Sandra emptied her office trash. "Don't you have retirement to think about?" Sandra forced a smile. "Not quite yet." The worst of it came from Ethan. His remarks grew increasingly personal. "You know," he said one afternoon, leaning against his desk with a smirk, "a woman like you should be grateful for any job. Not everyone gets to be inside a building like this, let alone work here." Sandra clenched her fists, her calm facade beginning to crack. The turning point. Sandra's breaking point came during a late-night incident. She had stayed late to clean the executive floor, only to overhear Ethan and Charles laughing about an upcoming deal. "They'll never know what hit them," Charles said, swirling a glass of whiskey. Sandra leaned closer, eavesdropping from behind a nearby pillar. "We'll skim off the top, just enough to keep it under the radar," Ethan added. By the time anyone notices, we'll be long gone with golden parachutes. Sandra's heart sank. They weren't just toxic, they were corrupt. She knew she had to act. Gathering evidence. For the next month, Sandra worked tirelessly, not just as a cleaner but as an undercover investigator. She documented everything: Ethan's bullying, Lily's condescension, Charles's financial misconduct. She even befriended a few junior employees, who confided in her about the toxic culture and their fear of speaking up. One of them, a young woman named Maya, shared a particularly harrowing story. Ethan had threatened to ruin her career after she turned down his advances. "He's untouchable," Maya said tearfully. "No one will believe me." Sandra reassured her, "Justice is coming, Maya. I promise." The big reveal. Finally, the day came for Sandra to step out of the shadows. She arrived at Global Dynamics, not in her janitor's uniform, but in a tailored navy blazer and heels. Her hair was neatly styled, and her confident stride turned heads as she made her way to the boardroom. Inside, Ethan was holding court with the board, boasting about the company's recent performance. When Sandra walked in, he frowned, then smirked. "You're lost, sweetheart," he said. "This is a private meeting." Sandra didn't respond immediately. She walked to the head of the table, where a projector screen displayed the company's latest figures. With a flick of the remote, she replaced it with a slideshow, emails, financial records, and security footage she had gathered over the past month. "My name is Sandra Willis," she began, her voice calm but commanding. "I am the founder and majority owner of Global Dynamics. For the past month, I've been working undercover to see how this company operates. What I found is disgraceful." The room fell silent. Ethan's smirk vanished. Sandra turned to the board members. "Ethan Gray has abused his position, harassed employees, and engaged in financial misconduct. Lily Carter and Charles Benson are complicit. Together, they've fostered a culture of fear and corruption." Ethan stammered, I had no idea." "That's the problem," Sandra interrupted. "You didn't care to know. You treated people like they were beneath you because you thought you were untouchable." Justice served. Sandra didn't waste time. She fired Ethan, Lily, and Charles on the spot, with security escorting them out of the building. She promised legal action against all three. To the remaining staff, Sandra addressed the room. "To those of you who have upheld integrity, your hard work will finally be recognized. To those who contributed to the toxic culture, your time here is over." Sandra's actions sent shockwaves through the company. She implemented sweeping reforms, creating a workplace that valued collaboration, respect, and transparency. A new era. Under Sandra's leadership, Global Dynamics thrived. Employees who once feared speaking up now felt empowered. The company's reputation was restored, and its future looked brighter than ever. Karma had delivered its blow, and Sandra Willis stood tall, a testament to resilience and justice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. See you in the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.